County Championship match between Essex and Warwickshire at the county ground in Essex. My name's David Brett. Clive Eakin from BBC CWR and Radio WM will be joining us in about half an hour's time. But with me at this very moment in time is Sonia Twigg of The Independent. Sonia, welcome back, day two.
Yes, good morning. It's good to be back. It's a shame it's not quite the weather that we saw yesterday, but it's definitely good to be here.
It's supposed to clear a little bit later, so hopefully it will brighten up a little bit. How was yesterday, by the way? I wasn't here myself.
Yesterday was good. It was a good recovery from Warwickshire after the loss of 5 wickets in the morning session and one just after lunch, leaving them 104 for 6. But then this partnership have really dug in and put on, both got hundreds and put on a substantial amount for the 7th wicket.
Yeah, Barnard 115 not out, Burgess 105 not out. Remember, Warwickshire were 104 for 6 just after lunch yesterday afternoon. They're now 308 for 6. So a partnership of 204 so far between these two. And as ever for the side bowling at the beginning of day two, when there's 6 wicket downs on the opposite side, they're looking for early wickets here, Essex. And you mentioned to us, Sonia, earlier on, I don't know if it came up yesterday, you're saying this is a part synthetic pitch. Is that right?
Well, that's what we were told, unfortunately, after play yesterday, so we couldn't inform the listeners. But yes, this is believed to be a hybrid pitch, which means that the artificial grass is sort of sewn in with the real ones, and it's designed to hold up better. It's more often used in white ball cricket, where they like to reuse the same pitches for multiple matches. It's not often used in the county championship, so I wonder if that will affect how much it degrades over the next couple of days.
Yeah, if so, that may well play into Warwickshire's hands. But we shall see the way this morning goes. We're going to have, I think it's be Shane Snater coming in from the River End. I'll have to go into the BBC Essex News for a quick update this morning in a couple of minutes' time. Snater just going through a bit of loosening down below us, swinging his arms about, stretching his neck out. He's got the short shaved hair down his sides. Bit of a mullet going on there for Shane Snater. And going through his final stretches. There are 2 slips in, a conventional first slip and a slightly wider, probably a third slip, which is where Simon Harmer's standing. And the man on strike, as Snater bowls, it's driven outside the off stump. That's going to go away up towards the deep cover boundary for a couple of runs. In fact, it will just be a single. Zipped along the turf there to Jamie Porter, and 1 run to the total, 309 for 6. As I said, this partnership 204 so far between these two. And that was Barnard on strike, so he goes to 116.
Yes, it's interesting. Yesterday we saw the surface be quite slow, and a lot of the balls that were here along the ground were just stopping before the boundary rope. But I wonder, after yesterday's sun and the dry conditions, whether that's just quickened up a touch and how that will play in Essex's favour.
Lovely straw-coloured surface, the pitch out there as Snater bowls. Fuller this time, and that's defended out into the offside. It's a bit of a misfield there from
Dean Elgar.
Dean Elgar. Oh, don't see that too often.
No, very experienced player, not the mistakes you often get from the former internationals.
Absolutely, straight through his hands there at short cover. Wasn't driven viciously at all, but it didn't cost Essex a run. And the score remains 309 for 6. First over of the day, day 2.
Yes, we didn't see too much tinkering in the field from Tom Wesley yesterday. He tended to stick with the tried and tested methods, but I wonder if we'll see something else this morning. Just
the one slip in for Burgess. Oh, that one keeps low, well wide of off stump, so it was an easy leave by Burgess. And through to the wicket-keeper, and there is no run. There is cloud cover. I don't think there's a fret of rain. It's darkish. It's a darker grey. It's not quite light. It's fairly high, and it's supposed to clear a little bit later. So touch wood, we might get a bit of better weather late this afternoon.
Yes, but the floodlights aren't on. It's not sort of dark enough that you need any help from the artificial lights, or it's quite bright even if there is a solid cloud cover here at Chelmsford.
Snater kicking his heels up, number 29 on his back, up to subs. Oh, that's come straight out of his hand, gone backwards, all the way back to the man at mid-off.
Yes, that was absolutely bizarre. It's gone straight to Tom Wesley, came out the back of his hand as he went for his release, and that's something you often see in sort of under-11s cricket. It's not something you tend to see in the county championship. I've certainly never seen that before. It was a bizarre sort of fluke from Shane Snater there as the ball sort of flicks right back up to Tom Wesley at mid-off.
Incredible. Well, they could all have a laugh about it. And we're just going to the BBC Essex News.
Championship match against Warwickshire. So day 2 goes a little better for the home side. Play's just getting underway.
It's flicked off the pads.
David Gray.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we've just in the first over here, we just had Shane Snater try to bowl a ball. It's flicked out the back of his hand and ended up in the hands of Tom Wesley at mid-off. It's a bizarre start today. Just a couple of runs to the total, just to see if that last ball actually went down to the boundary for 4. But it's 309 for 6 at the moment, so just one run onto the total. Remember, at one point yesterday, Warwickshire were 104 for 6, but Burgess and Barnard managed to put on 204 runs to get them up to 308 for 6 by the close. So these two going really well. Essex will be really hoping for early wickets at the county ground this morning. There's a heavyish cloud cover, but it's fairly high in the sky. We're not expecting any rain, but bowlers need to do some work this morning. Currently it's 311 for 6, and Essex really need those final 4 wickets. So that flicked down off the pads just before we went on air, just went down to the man at long leg for a couple of runs. So Burgess goes to 107, 311 for 6, and Barnard on 116. Partnership continues to creep up as Snater's in, bowls right arm over to the right-handed bat, and that's left alone outside the off stump, and that completes the first over of the day. 3 runs off it, and Warwickshire are 311 for 6.
Yes, Warwickshire pretty much carrying off where they were yesterday, which will be a little bit disappointing for Essex, who will probably have hoped that the cloud cover injects some life into this ball that isn't actually that old, although we didn't see a huge amount from it yesterday, and the last sort of half an hour, 40 minutes of the session just meandered to a almost foregone conclusion there. Which was slightly disappointing from an Essex perspective, but Warwickshire will have been absolutely delighted, having been, as you mentioned earlier, 104 for 6.
And they certainly will be. Sorry, I'm absolutely terrible when I do my washing. I tend to leave stuff in my pockets, and I think that is a washed up golf scorecard, which I'm pulling out, which was terribly uncomfortable to sit on. So apologies for that. Anyway.
My iPhone headphones have been through the wash twice and still work.
They survived.
They are the corded ones, not the more volatile wireless. I don't trust myself with the fancy ones. Cook will bowl from the Graham Gooch end, Cook in over the wicket, and that's just watched by Barnard through to the wicketkeeper for no run.
Rigging endorsement of iPhone earphones there. Go through a whole wash.
Don't try it at home.
No, absolutely not.
But if you...
Expensive mistake to make if it goes wrong.
Expensive mistake if it goes wrong, but if you happen to find that they have gone through the wash without your knowledge, they might still work. It's just one of those things you put in your pocket and don't necessarily think to check.
Absolutely. I'm glad I'm not the only one that makes that mistake.
As Sam Cook turns at the top of his mark and runs in to Barnard, who again just lets that go through to Michael Pepper for no run. It's a bit of a watchful start. There's a touch of sun around, although I can't quite see where it's coming from, but there are some shadows on the pitch.
Yeah, just away to our left-hand side, just slightly over there. The cloud isn't breaking just yet, but as soon as it does, it should turn out to be quite a nice day here. I think tomorrow is supposed to be very nice.
Yes, hopefully. I'm not back here tomorrow, but you will be.
Oh, that's a shame. Yes, yeah, I'm back for day 3.
I'm running a half marathon for the Lord Taverners tomorrow.
Oh, congratulations.
Not too far away in Hackney, so I'm sure the weather will be similar there. As Cook runs in, and that's defended by Barnard, just turned away into the leg side behind square, and he will pick up an easy single to take the total on to 311 for 6.
BBC Essex Cricket at gmail.com if you do want to get in touch with us. Myself, Sonia, Clive. Clive, have you got any Twitter handles or anything?
BBC CWR Sport.
BBC CWR Sport as well. Sonia, any Twitter handles?
Yes, it's at Twig Sonia, Twig with 2 G's, Sonia with an I. You think I wouldn't have to say that, but I've had some very interesting spellings over the years of my name. So just to clarify, if anyone does want to get in touch, that's how to reach us. Cook getting ready to bowl this ball, runs in, bowls, and that's just defended by Burgess, but into the vacant gap on the offside between point and cover, and he'll pick up a single. They're just keeping the scoreboard ticking over Warwickshire, and I think they'll want to bat as long as they can, especially with that good weather tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as Clive's mentioned, it's their batting. As Clive mentioned yesterday, it's their batting that Warwickshire will feel is their strongest suit, so they will want to put on as many runs as they can in the first innings here, where conditions were so good to bat yesterday in the afternoon, and they will want to continue where they left off. Cook in bowls, and that's just defended with soft hands and off the edge of the bat down to Simon Harmer at that, as you mentioned, the slightly unconventional third slip position to the Essex seamer. There's quite a few less in the crowd today than there were yesterday, but I wonder if that's the combination of the grey weather and also the Essex League getting underway today, which might take those who would be watching cricket into playing cricket, or their involvement with clubs or other family commitments that can come into play on the weekend, as Cook is in and bowls, and that's pushed at by Burgess but goes past the outside edge through to wicketkeeper, and that's just what Essex will want to see, a slight hint of movement and life in the pitch that we didn't see towards the end yesterday. And at the end of that over, Warwickshire 313 for 6, Barnard on 107 and Burgess on 108.
So what time does the half marathon start?
9 o'clock.
Okay.
I won't be starting at 9 o'clock. The quickest people will be starting
Okay.
at 9 o'clock. I'll be starting around half an hour after that.
Okay. Looking forward to it? Is it your first one, or have you done quite a few?
I did it last year, and I've done one other last year, but I haven't trained as well as I would have wanted to for this one because of work and other commitments. So yes, I should be able to get through it all right, but I don't think. I don't know. It's one of those things. It's so sort of weather dependent and conditions on the day and how you feel. A large part of what it comes down to.
Snater coming in from the river end. Right, I'm over. That's nicked, and that's caught well by the wicketkeeper down to his right-hand side. Has a lovely delivery, just moving away from the batsman, forced him to just prod away from his body. And that's the wicket of Michael Burgess, who goes for 108. Nicked off Slater to the wicketkeeper. And the 7th wicket falls at 313, and relief for Essex and the bowlers, especially bearing in mind they'll be looking around the county scores to see what was happening at Surrey yesterday as well. They won't want Surrey getting too far out of their reach this early on in the season, so they want to make headway this morning. A lovely delivery from Shane Snater, and they finally got his man. So Burgess goes early on day 2 in the 3rd over of the morning, and Warwickshire are 313 for 6. Lovely knock though.
Yes, it was a great knock, and it came to an end. Snater got 2 wickets, of course, yesterday to dismiss Will Rhodes and Sam Hain, and he's just carried off where there was today. I wonder if the weather has meant there's a little bit more movement. And the new batter will be Simmons, who is making his Warwickshire debut today, having been around the squad for a while. I was informed yesterday, but he will make his debut here at Essex with the number 99 on his back.
And he's already at the crease. Just taking his guard. Essex players just taking on board some drinks, always vital after 2.2 overs.
Yes, it's one of those things that I think every break in play that someone runs out with drinks, whether you think it's warranted or not. But I think it's a chance to regroup, and that will be the partnership that they were so keen to break early this morning. I
do worry that people have become obsessed with hydration, and it's causing even more obsessions with hydration. I'm not sure it's a thing so much in the past. I tend to remember when I was younger going days without seemingly have any water whatsoever, but everyone seems to be taking on water sips every other minute or so these days.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a big concern of mine tomorrow. So is making sure I've had enough water and drink enough throughout today and going into tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully they'll have enough water stations there for you on the way round.
Well, the difficult part is the first bit, where there aren't any for 3.5 miles.
Ooh. Snater in, up to stumps, bowls, and that's defended back down the pitch nicely. And there is no run.
Which caused some problems last year when it was quite hot in the morning. So, and obviously you have to get ready to run so much before your actual start time. So there were a lot of people who sort of hadn't had anything to drink for 45 minutes because they didn't want to carry it. And then they start the run, and you've got to wait until you've done sort of 5 kilometres or 5.5, almost 6 kilometres to get to that first water station where people were drinking quite a bit. Nervous energy as well. Can make you thirsty. Here comes Snater in again. There's 2 slips and a gully in for Simmons. Oh, and he plays at that, takes the bat away from the ball, but I think that was after the ball had passed the outside edge of the bat and through
to the wicketkeeper, and there's no run. 313 for 7. Simmons yet to score. Barnard still there though on 117.
Yes, it was Barnard who played the sort of watchful innings and allowed Burgess to play his strikes yesterday. He weathered the storm a little bit before the loss of Bethel, who took 26 balls to get off the mark before he managed to score. So that was very much a case of starting the rebuild before Barnard dug in and was well partnered by Burgess.
Slater to get up to the stumps, bowls to the right-handed Simmons, who defends nicely into the leg side, fielded at short mid-wicket. And there is no run. Cushy there doing the fielding for Essex. He's a long-sleeved shirt.
And the only player without any sort of a hat.
Yeah, quite right as well. Yep, well spotted. He's got his shades on though. Not sure he quite needs them this morning, but it might be bright down there at pitch level.
I think it's something that also a lot of players, if they're used to wearing them, they tend to wear them almost regardless of conditions.
Slater in, that's dropped a little bit short, driven by Simmons. Nice looking drive, but straight to the man fielding at cover. It's Jordan Cox. And there's no run. 313 for 7.
Yes, what Essex won't want to do is, of course, having got that key breakthrough, is now allow Worcestershire to build another Warwickshire to build another partnership. They'll want to keep going and break through the remaining wickets and give themselves a long time to bat. As we know, they can dig in and score some good runs at home. They've had an impressive record here so far this season.
Nick Brown just going through some shadow batting at mid-on as this next it's off the pads, going down the leg side. It might take it inside edge off the bat onto the pads. Let's see what the umpire signals. I think it's going to be leg byes this one. Yep, all pad. So leg bye to the total, 314 for 7, and that ends a successful over for Essex. Barnard gone for 108, and Warwickshire are 313 for 7. Sorry, Burgess for 108.
Yes, it will be slightly disappointing for Simmons that he wasn't able to get bat on that and get his first run in the county championship. But he will have another chance having got down to the other end and will be on strike against Sam Cook, who is one of the bowlers rumoured to be in the mix when England look for someone to take over the reins from James Anderson. It's not really clear if there are any sort of bowlers other than Ben Stokes and Jack Leach guaranteed a place in the Test side, so it will be very interesting to see how much early county championship performances affect that. Cook in bowls, and that's gone past the outside edge of Simmons through to the wicketkeeper, and he prodded at that one. I wonder if the replay isn't quite good enough, unfortunately, for us to be able to see if the ball is doing anything, and it's our screen here is frozen, unfortunately, but it looks like the Cook and Snater are both causing a few problems for the Warwickshire batters here.
Yeah, perhaps a bit of cloud covers helping the Essex bowlers as well.
Well, it was interesting that, I'll tell you after this ball, as Cook runs in, bowls, and that's fended at again by Simmons, but he doesn't get bat on it and it goes through to the wicketkeeper. Apparently there was a big study around atmospheric conditions and what they do to a cricket ball, and there was no sort of reason why extra moisture, and all the tests they did show that no extra moisture, no cloud cover should have any effect on the ball swinging, except for the fact that when it's overcast it does swing, and there was no sort of scientific explanation for why that would happen at all. But as everyone knows, when the skies are grey, the ball moves more.
Yeah, very true.
Cook with ball in hand, standing at the top of his mark. Runs in. Bowls. And again, that's pushed out by Simmons and it goes past the outside edge. This is a bit of a testing start to his county championship career, and you just want him to get that one run and get off the mark and feel bat on ball and be a little bit more comfortable out there.
Yeah, I guess if he had the choice of bowlers to be facing when he's first starting his county championship career, Sam Cook probably is quite far down on that list.
Yes, and he probably would have wanted a few more overs before coming in this morning, but it's not happened, as Michael Burgess fell just in the last over, caught behind the stumps for 108 after a very impressive knock on the afternoon of day one, and that one will bring Simmons his first runs. He's edged that but with soft hands, and that's raced away to the boundary for 4, and he will be off the mark with that boundary. Although it was off the outside edge, he kept the soft hands and controlled it well, and it went through the gap between slip and gully.
Yeah, I thought you played that very nicely, actually. As you say, soft hands guided down into the ground as well. And ran away down the slope for 4 runs. Yeah, he was waiting around a long time in the changing room yesterday, watching Barnard and Burgess put on a huge partnership.
Yes, he will have sat there with his pads on for quite some time in the afternoon yesterday, from shortly after lunch until the close of play. But he's got his chance here as Cook runs in from the Graham Gooch end towards us, and that's defended back up the pitch more comfortably by Simmons as that ball finds the middle of the bat and just goes to Nick Brown at mid-off. There's a few more sort of trickling in as the morning goes. I wonder if we'll see some come the afternoon after sort of children's football and all these things that take place on Saturday mornings.
Yeah, quite possibly.
There's a few balconies over to the left-hand side of us with doors open, but no one quite sort of establishing themselves out there yet, as Cook has just pulled out of his run-up, and there'll be a brief pause as he goes back to the top of his mark. There's 2 in the slips and 1 at gully. Point cover mid-off as Cook runs in and bowls, and that one again has gone past the outside edge of Simmons's bat. And at the end of that over, Warwickshire 318 for 7, Barnard unbeaten on 117, and Simmons with 4.
Yeah, that was an absolute beauty. That one just brought the batsman forward. It lifted off a length. Couldn't do much about that if it had nicked it off. Lovely delivery to finish with. Sorry, I'm paying attention. I've just realised I've got a new phone and I haven't got our BBC Essex email on here, so I'm trying to figure out how we're going to access that throughout the day. But I will do my best. Was it busy here yesterday?
It was very busy here yesterday.
Oh, nice.
I reckon there were at least a couple of thousand here, and some school children who were on the pitch during the interval, which was lovely to see, and played some sort of quick cricket as they do with the softball and bat.
Snater in again from the river end, up the slope, right arm over to the right-handed Barnard, who drives nicely through the covers. There's a fielder out there who's going to stop it. I think that's Jamie Porter, yeah, doing the tumbling stop away to our left-hand side. A few yards inside the rope, a couple of runs to the total. 320 for 7. Barnard goes to 119 off 244 deliveries. Nice looking stroke, that one.
Yes, he's looked very comfortable and set. He hasn't necessarily been the quickest scorer, but his innings has been exactly what Warwickshire needed when he came to the crease. It's been a very good sort of rebuilding, shepherding job by Ed Barnard alongside Michael Burgess, who fell early this morning for 108.
Snater. Both Essex batsmen have beaten the bat this morning. Snater with the wicket though, as he's in now. Bowls, that's turned the batsman around. I don't think he was in any control. That's going to run away for 4 runs down towards third man. That's a thick outside edge. He was trying to turn it away into the leg side. A few Essex players down on their haunches there. Can't believe that didn't get through either to the wickets or an LBW. And Barnard gets away with one. 4 runs, streaky, 324 for 7, but they all count. He moves to 123 not out.
Yes, I don't think Warwickshire will be too concerned about where the runs do come from now. As they find themselves 7 down, they'll just want to put on as many as they can for the final 3 wickets and stay out there and keep Essex out there as long as possible, because after a long day in the field, the last thing you want is a long first session in the field as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Pepper, the wicket-keeper, and the batsman just having a little laugh with each other, probably words along the lines of "you jammy so-and-so." Here comes Snater, ball short this time. That's pulled away down towards long leg. That's going to be 4 runs. That's a nice shot. It just sat up there to be hit. It looked like the batsman already knew what delivery he was going to get bowled there. He was on it straight away, controlled it all along the ground and away for 4 runs. Backward square on the leg side. 328 for 7, and Barnard goes to 127.
Yes, that was a lovely shot and a bit short from the bowler, a little bit, just sat up nicely for him there, and all he had to do was rock back and turn it around the corner. As a player who's already unbeaten on 123, he's not going to miss a chance to capitalise on that.
Absolutely, eye is in. Here comes Snater again. What's he got on? He's got bowling forward this time, again down the leg side, flicked away, but it's going to go to the man. I think that's Sam Cook down there. That fine leg. All on the ground for a single. 329 for 7, 128 to Barnard. Just strayed on his line there. I think that's probably the effort ball from Shane Slater, trying to get it right up there and attack the pads, and he just pushed it more down the leg side, and Barnard picks up a comfortable single.
Yes, that's just thrown me slightly because Cook was one of the ones in the floppy hat yesterday, but they all seem to have spurned those today in the lack of sun and gone for the more traditional cricket caps.
Slater in again, bowls, and that's a wide outside off stump. It's driven nicely by Simmons, fielded by the man at cover. Can't see who that is.
I think it's Jordan Cox.
Yeah, Jordan Cox doing the fielding there. And the field switches around, so Gully moves out towards deep point. That probably is going to be.
I wonder if they're going to go to try and tempt him into a short ball, or at least think that they're going to try and tempt him into a short ball, because they've moved. Backward point has gone right out onto the boundary, as has, well, Sam Cook stayed there, but square leg has dropped by about 20 or 30 yards as well.
Yep, spot on. Slater in, 2 slips in, bowls, and that, well, it was a bluff, because that was a full delivery, defended out into the offside, barely dropped to his toes, Simmons, and that is the end of the over. 3:29 for 7.
How are your attempts to get into your email going?
Very, very badly. Spectacularly badly, actually. I'll have to try and sort it out at lunchtime. So apologies if anyone emails in. We hopefully will get to your emails, but it might not be until after lunchtime. So apologies about that. That is completely my fault. I'll take full responsibility. The traffic this morning didn't help either. I'll blame the traffic.
They can get in touch, I'm sure, with you via Twitter.
Oh, yeah, I don't do Twitter either. But you do Twitter. So.
I do Twitter. Unfortunately.
What's your Twitter handle again?
At Twig Sonia, if anyone wants to get in contact. Or the same handle on Instagram for those who use that instead. As Dean Elgar is dropping to the boundary for the bowling of Sam Cook, or dropping 2/3 to the boundary. He was at slip, but he's just dropped out towards the third man, and that one is defended out to backward point by Barnard for no run at the start of that over. Interestingly, to go defensive so quickly. I think they'd want to put the pressure on at the start of the day, but it seems like there's quite a few sort of patrolling those boundaries and trying to keep the runs down, which is a bit of a defensive move from the captain, you'd say.
Yeah, I guess they might also be wanting to get Simmons on strike as much as possible early on in his innings before he gets his eye in.
Well, I don't know if they'll know what to make of Simmons as he's a debutant. I don't know if there'll be too much footage, and that's carved away and well stopped by Shane Slater. That was an absolutely brilliant one-handed stop from Barnard, who looked sure to get at least a couple for that. It was a cutaway with power, and it was it was on the bounce, but a good stop from Slater, and that just stuck in his hand really nicely to ensure that Barnard couldn't add to his total.
Yeah, Kushi's sweeping about 10 yards inside the boundary on that cover side, but I'm not entirely sure he would have got there had that beaten Slater, because that was flying away.
It was hit very hard and well fielded by the bowler. Cook in bowls, and that's just defended straight back down the pitch by Barnard for no run. Cook causing a few more problems this morning than he did last night.
Yep, kept a little bit low, that one too. Almost caught Barnard on the hop.
Well, that's just what batters don't want, is that hint of variable bounce, which can cause so many problems for them.
Yeah, especially when Essex have got a bat next.
Cook with ball in hand, making his way back to his mark. A few more fans just trickling in front of us. Cook runs in, bowls, and that's just watched by Barnard through to the wicketkeeper Michael Pepper for no run. Simon Harmer is the only fielder in the slips. They'd started with 3 at the start of the day, but they've decided not to. Dean Elgar just questioning whether he should come in for the final 2 balls of the over, but has been told to stay in his position sort of 10 yards off the third man boundary. There is a fielder in, having said that they were playing defensively. They have just brought the fielder in on the leg side. He was on the square leg boundary. He's just come up to just around where the edge of the ring would be in white ball cricket at mid-wicket. Cook in bowls, and that's defended straight back to the bowler again by Barnard for no run, who holds his position strongly after that forward defensive. And Jordan Cox is unconventionally crouching at short cover. He did that a couple of times yesterday, but after doing that, he's walked back to his more conventional position. He did stay there at one point for one ball, wondering whether that was just to try and off-put the batter. Cook in bowls, and that's defended by Barnard into the leg side this time, where it's gathered by the fielder at mid-wicket for no run. At the end of that over, Warwickshire 329 for 7.
Yep, good over that one from Cook.
Maiden over.
Just prodding away at the batsman's defences.
Well, for Warwickshire, there's so much time left in this game. You think that they can almost sort of weather the storm a little bit and get the measure of what it's doing today. There's not a rush to get on with things. There's not any sort of rain forecast. I did have a quick look on one of the apps this morning. I haven't checked all of them, but to see whether there was any rain forecast for today. And while it said there was going to be some cloud around this morning, there wasn't any sort of hint that would turn into showers that we've seen far too often so far this season.
Well, Warwickshire will be delighted as to where they are, particularly given where they were just after lunch yesterday, as Snater moves it again. 2 slips and a gully for Simmons, who dabs that away into the offside. And there's no run. And a few more people are filing in at the far end there, the Hayes close end. Just walking around the back. Gradually building today. Lancashire are all out. Durham in reply 1 for no loss. Remember, Ben Stokes bowling in that match. Just took the 1 wicket in the first innings. Matthew Potts, one of those that may be in contention for a spot in the England side. He took 3 in that first innings. As Snater turns around again. Sun is coming through. Hallelujah. Snater in, bowls Fuller, and that's a lovely looking defensive shot there from Simmons. Stride forward, high elbow, and defending down into the offside Coxfields, and there's no run. Notts are 224 for 9 against Hampshire. James is still not out on 102. Last man partnering him is Patterson. He's currently on 4. Let's see if they can get anywhere near that 250 total. As Snater's in again, right him over to the right-handed Simmons, and that's allowed to go through to the wicket-keeper. And again, there is no run. Somerset are 466 for 8. Another big score there for Somerset. James Rue, the wicket-keeper, 114. Banton, obviously another wicket-keeper there, 133. Really pieced together that the majority of that innings. Huge contribution from those two.
Yes, there's a lot of young wicket-keeper batters who are doing really well. Jamie Smith has done quite well for Surrey. Is another wicket-keeper who doesn't obviously keep wicket for Surrey because they've got Ben Folks.
Snater moves in again and bowls back of a length. It's left alone outside the off stump. Too wide that one. Didn't interest the batsman. Through to the wicket-keeper, and there's no run. Yeah, Essex fans would have been rubbing their hands in glee when Surrey were bowled out for 213 yesterday. Unfortunately, Worcestershire 128 for 9. So that one seems like it might finish rather quickly.
Yes, it's been a good recovery there, and I think they were stopped by bad light briefly yesterday, which we were slightly incredulous about because we're not that far away from the Oval here, and it was bright sunshine.
No, not too far at all. D'Oliveira is 30 not out for Worcestershire, so he's hanging on in there, but he's running out of partners. As Snater's in again, just the 2 slips in as Simmons pushes out into the offside, and that's an easy single to take. 330 for 7.
Yes, he just sort of pushed that into the vacant gap. There's only Jordan Cox in the ring on that side, and he was allowed to get the single, I think, as clearly there's a ploy to keep the new batter on strike here.
Absolutely, yep. Last ball of the innings. Phil comes in for Barnard. It's going to be a wideish first. It's probably standing at around about the 2nd slip mark, and a gully, backward point, a cover, a mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket, and a fine leg as Snater moves into Barnard, who cuts off the back foot down towards deep cover. Missed that fielder out there. and there will be a single to finish the over. So they managed to keep Simmons on strike for the next over, and Warwickshire are 331 for 7.
Yes, it was Jamie Porter who did the fielding on that boundary, but it was weird they left that vacant gap at cover if they wanted to get Simmons on strike, just almost allowing Barnard to get that run.
Absolutely. I think Clive's going to come in. Do you want to stand or do you want me to go? I'll go. I'll leave you with Clive and I'll be back in about half an hour's time. Thank you, Sonia.
No worries, as Sam Cook will start his over from the Graham Gooch end. It started exactly how Essex would have wanted, with the early wicket and breaking that key partnership with Michael Burgess out for 108. But since then, it's sort of meandered along and there hasn't been a lot of bite in, as Cook runs in and bowls to Barnard, who just watches that through to the wicketkeeper for no run. As Clive is just doing all his extra preparations and changing over the microphone so that it's got his own branding on it.
Yes, good morning. Warwickshire will be hoping to try and get to 350. They've got 7 overs to get 19 more runs and, more significantly, 3 wickets left to do it.
Cook runs in and bowls, and that's just again watched by Barnard through to the wicketkeeper for no run. And the field is very spread here. I think they're really trying to get Simmons on strike, but you might know more than me about Simmons' ability with the bat.
This is his first class debut. I mean, his figures in the second 11 this season are not particularly impressive in terms of run scoring, but I did say yesterday that one more wicket would certainly open up an end for Essex. Having said that, he's not looked too bad so far, has he?
No, he's looked okay, a little bit nervous maybe, as Cook runs in bowls, and that's just defended by Barnard into that vacant offside, and the field will come in for Simmons on strike.
So he's coming ahead of Michael Ray, who has got a first class high of 34, so we presume he's not, and he's played a fair number of games in New Zealand, so he's not in the team for his run scoring. Then you've got Ollie Hammond-Dolby, who we know can certainly hang around. I'll be interested to see actually whether he comes in next.
It will be. I guess it might depend who's at the other end.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. If it's still there, Barnard, then there's a case, I think, for Ollie Hammond-Dolby, because he's the sort of player that could help the senior batter.
2 slips and a gully for Simmons as Cook bowls, and that's defended strongly by the batter up towards mid-off for no run. Yes, there's 2 slips, a gully, point, cover, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket in the ring, and then just Porter out on the sort of fine leg boundary. But having said that, they're just dropping Feroz Kushi, who was in the ring in that mid-wicket position, and he's now dropped to 10 yards off the boundary at deep square. As Cook is in and bowls, and that's defended again by the batter up towards mid-off.
A couple of teams have been bowled out in the last few minutes. Worcestershire are all out for 120. I think Surrey need to be docked 50 points for that pitch. What do you think? Worcestershire all out for what was it, 128, which gives Surrey a first innings lead of 85. Gosh, they're ready to go bang, bang, bang at the end of the innings. Wicket, dot, dot, wicket, wicket.
Could be all over very soon at the Oval.
Yeah.
Cook in bowls, and that's prodded at by Simmons, but goes past the outside edge through to the wicketkeeper for no run. And at the end of that over, Warwickshire 332 for 7.
6 for 22 for Dan Worrell.
He's a good county bowler.
Yeah. Also all out are Nottinghamshire. Somewhere, if I can find it. 235 against Hampshire at Trent Bridge. They were in trouble sort of from fairly on in their early on in their innings, so they're probably quite pleased to have got at least that many on the board. 106 not out for Lyndon James. It's a great effort from him. 4 wickets for Hamad Abbas. Simon Harmer into the 10. We have got this hybrid pitch, which none of us knew about. Spectators weren't told, the media weren't told, none of us were told. It only came out when we did our end of day interviews, and they started discussing the hybrid pitch. It explains why Warwickshire opted not to include either of their extra spinners who were in the squad. Danny Briggs and Jake Lintop were both in the squad, but didn't play because the question mark over the hybrid pitches is whether they deteriorate enough for red ball cricket. This is the first season in which they have been allowed in red ball county cricket, 4-day county cricket. They've been using white ball cricket in counties, but not red ball. So
Well, they make more sense in white ball cricket, given that those pitches get so much use. But it'll be interesting to see how they fare in county cricket. It's an interesting decision, given that Essex have got the likes of Simon Harmer, and you'd think they'd want to make the most of him.
Well, absolutely, this is a reverse sweep from about the second time that I think I can recall in the innings where he's trying to play that. The same thing's happened each time. Michael Pepper has anticipated it really well and flung himself across and managed to stop the ball with his body. If it gets past him, then there's no fielder anywhere near it, so it's going to be runs. But Michael Pepper has done well to spot the shot early and make the block. Harmer in. This time he's gone for an orthodox sweep, Barnard. He's got it away, but there is a fielder out there on the boundary for that, so it earns him just one run and brings Simmons on the strike. So no question at this stage of Barnard trying to keep Simmons off the strike and hog it. I dare say that might start when the next wicket falls, if it's Simmons' wicket at least.
Well, they've kept the fielders out for Simmons. They've moving fine leg in, but there's still a sweeper on that leg side, and short leg has gone under the helmet. I think that is Nick Brown there, who comes into short leg.
And that's come off an inside edge from Simmons, just a back of square. No chance of runs. It squirts straight to a fielder. Bit of encouragement from someone in the crowd. Not quite as busy today. I see someone's very sensibly getting the sun cream out and covering his arms there.
Yes, as soon as the sun came out, so did the sun cream, which is obviously very responsible from the Essex members. And
Shea Simmons plays back to that. Plays it quite well, but doesn't beat Kushi in the covers, so there's no run. Yeah, so not quite as many here today as we're here. Yes, it was quite an impressive Friday crowd yesterday. Still not bad attendance today. Harmer gives out a bit of air, and it's driven by Simmons, who's unerringly finding fielders at the moment, but importantly from a Warwickshire point of view is keeping Harmer out. This is 104th over, so Warwickshire just have to have that a little bit in mind. They'll want to get to 350 if they can and get a third batting point. 105th over, in fact, so there's 5 overs to go after this one. Our screen seems to have frozen.
Yes, it's been doing that on and off this morning.
So it's 3-3-3. 3-3-3 for 7, lots of threes there. After 105 overs, so they've got 5 overs left to get 17 runs. Whether they're thinking about that or not, I don't know. I would have thought they would be, but I will have it in mind. I'll try and hit a couple of shots and get them there.
Well, you mentioned the Surrey score. Worrell bowled a triple wicket maiden to finish off the innings there. And we will have a change of bowling here, as Jamie Porter will take over from Sam Cook from the Graham Gooch end. And it will be Barnard on strike. Porter just going through a few warm-up deliveries. He bowled a hell of a stint yesterday, as did most of the Essex bowlers, to be fair. At one point they found themselves behind the over 8, so they had to catch up, and we had a long part of spin between Critchley and Harmer, but then they turned back to seam and Harmer as the day went on, but still couldn't find that key breakthrough.
Another team all out today, just a couple of overs into the day. Lancashire 357 against Durham.
Porter is in and bowls right arm over the wicket to Barnard, who pushes that one up to mid-off, and that will bring Simmons on strike, and the field comes in.
That's at Blackpool, 115 to Keaton Jennings. Not a bad game for him to score some runs when Ben Stokes is in the opposition. Stokes 2 for 71. Clearly not good enough yet. 3 apiece to Ben Rain and Matthew Potts.
Yeah, so for Simmons, there will be 2 in the slips, 1 at gully. There's the field just sort of comes into the ring for the batter who has scored just 5 county championship runs to his name, all in this match.
Yeah, Barnard happy to take a single off the first ball of the over.
Which suggests he's not too worried about his partner, Porter, in and bowls, and that is driven well by Simmons, but straight to the Jordan Cox, I think that is, at cover.
Just wanted to mention there's rain at Taunton, although it looks like they are starting in about 10 minutes' time. Somerset against Kent. They've had a delay there because of rain. And the delay at Hove, again, starting at 11:45, starting about now, but they did have a delayed start at Hove.
So frustrating, isn't it, when so many rounds have been. I think I did a Yorkshire-Derbyshire game where Derbyshire had lost 8 days, full days of cricket for the first time in however many years it was. As Porter is in bowls, and that goes past the outside edge through to Michael Pepper. So many from that end have gone past that Simmons' outside edge, but none have caught it.
Well, last season there was only 1 championship match across the 2 divisions that was completely abandoned without a ball being bowled. The first round of this season there were 2. So we've had 2 complete abandonments so far.
Yes, I did feel sorry for the commentators at Durham who, despite the blue skies on days 2, 3 and 4, I'm informed we're still not able to get on just as the state of the pitch as Porter runs in bowls, and that again goes past Simmons' outside edge through to the wicket-keeper.
Yeah, Simmons not really getting very close to these, is he? I think Barnard's got a bit of thinking to do here because they are fast running out of overs in terms of the bonus points. Does it matter? Well, it might. Whether Barnard's priority is just to keep the innings going as long as possible, whether they get these 16 runs, we'll see.
I'm sure it will have been discussed at some point as Porter is in bowls, and that goes soft hands along the ground in the gap between slips and gully, and that will bring 4 more runs to the total.
Well, that will help.
Yes, Warwickshire move on to 338 for 7 with that. It wasn't the cleanest shot, but it was soft hands and there was no chance of a catch, and it's just gone into that vacant position.
I mean, he has done that quite well, hasn't he? Although he's edging it, he's, as you say, he's playing with soft hands and keeping the ball well down.
Well, it's one you see a lot in white ball cricket, isn't it, where they just go, there's no slip, so they can afford that big sort of drive, and if they catch the edge, it's 4 runs. It's almost become a more legitimate shot than it would have been a few years ago, I think, as Porter bowls over the wicket to Simmons, who again prods at that, and it goes past the outside edge, and at the end of that over, Warwickshire 338 for 7.
Well, Porter's looking a bit frustrated there. He certainly had the better of Simmons, and yet no reward for it.
Isn't that often the case with bowlers? So often the case.
They, of course, need 2 more wickets if they're to get a 3rd bowling point, and while I think it's a bit... They might have to think about themselves more than about Surrey at the moment. They probably will mind that Surrey, of course, only didn't manage any batting points. So, having said that, they do look good to potentially win their game, which would give them, what would give them? That would give them 19 points. Essex got a lot of work here to do to have a chance of winning this game. Never mind picking up points. However, 2 more wickets needed in the next 4 overs if they're to get a 3rd bowling point. Harmer comes into Barnard. Then he comes down the pitch, but again he's taking a single off the first ball of the over. I think he was hoping to be able to get that one away for more, but nonetheless he's not going to turn down the single. And that's 339 for 7.
Yes, it was an interesting call, but clearly the decision has been made to not worry about Simmons being on strike.
Harmer comes into bowl, and he comes down the pitch, Simmons, and hits it reasonably well, but it's cut off at mid-off.
Maybe they aren't worried about Simmons against the spinners.
Well, yeah, and also I suppose if he's coming at number 9, it's a bit early to start protecting the batter. Oh, he sweeps at that one. That's gone through everything. I don't know what it hit, if anything. They've got through for a run. I think it might have missed the lot. No, why? It's obviously come off part of the bat or glove because the run has been awarded to the batter.
Yes, no buys have been signals. I wonder if it was a sort of underneath edge.
Yeah, so that gets Barnard back on strike. 340 for 7. Armour bowls. Barnard just plays that one to mid-wicket for no run. 10 more runs required for the third batting point. This little sort of mini game you get at this stage of an innings. As Harmer comes in, he comes down the pitch. Barnard again plays it to long on, but that's okay. It's the 5th ball of the over. He'll get a single. Takes Warwickshire to within 9 runs with 3 overs to go after this for bonus points. Simmons just needs to keep one out here from Harmer.
Well, it's so easy to think, you know, don't worry about the bonus points, but obviously when it comes to the end of the season, every point can matter.
It can. It's interesting though, as Harmer comes in to bowl to Simmons, 1 slip and a short leg. That's played out to the offside. He'll get runs there. We'll get 2. They're going to have to sprint, but that's well watched by Simmons, who completed his run, looked to see where the fielder was and decided, yes, there was time to get a second. Good running. Yeah, the season when they were first, second, and then won the county championship back in the 10s. They did have a philosophy then of not worrying about bonus points at all, was the general sort of route. A few times people said, well, why didn't you go for the bonus point? And they always said that they were interested in the 16 points for a win. That's what they were after. The one time I remember where they did go all out for bonus points was against Somerset. And they got them, but they lost a whole load of wickets on the way. They got to the maximum batting points in the end, but there were 9 wickets down by then, and they went on to lose the match. So it kind of explained their initial philosophy. However, when you're this close to it, you sort of feel you've got to get it, haven't you?
I bet it was entertaining watching them.
That was one of the most entertaining county championship matches I've seen, that one, Somerset against Warwickshire.
Porter in bowls, and that's just tucked by Barnard into the leg side for an easy single, and that will, as we know, bring the field up.
Somerset ended up chasing not that many to win, and Craig Keyswetter got them there, but not before Keith Barker caused mayhem, and actually he did have about 1 or 2 balls at the number 11 in the end, so it went right down to the wire. It was a really good match, that.
That's what you want
Taunton.
from the county championship.
Yeah.
Those thrilling contests between bat and ball. I can't see Dean Elgar, which makes me think he is below us at 3rd.
Yes, he is, yeah.
As Porter is in bowls, and that's defended out towards 3rd. And Dean Elgar appears from the stand below us to field that and keep the score down to just 1.
Spreading out for Barnard, sort of offering the single. I'm not sure.
At this point, it's a bit of a negative mindset, isn't it? It's sort of almost offering them the run.
Especially when Warwickshire clearly aren't worrying about it. Barnard's quite happy to take the single.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if Barnard was really dominating the strike, you'd want to offer it up, but he seems perfectly happy to take the singles, and it's just allowing that strike to keep rotating and the scoreboard to keep ticking over as Porter is in again, and that's defended by Barnard into the leg side for an easy single.
Yeah, and that takes them to 346.
The field's also had come right in for Simmons on strike, and it's now sort of half coming in for Simmons on strike. I'm not quite sure what Essex's tactics are at the moment. There's 2 in the slips, but they did have 2 in the slips and 1 at gully, and they've now got 2 in the slips and 1 at deep 3rd, which seems slightly negative from my perspective. As Porter is in again to Simmons, who defends that straight back to the bowler for no run.
Yeah, solidly defended that one by Simmons. If he wants to play out this over, he can. There's still 2 overs left, with only 4 runs to get for the 350. Somebody's been very shouting and encouraging somewhere.
Well, we saw that a little bit towards the end of the day, but that was a little bit more understandable yesterday, as people had enjoyed their afternoons, I think. As Porter bowls over the wicket to Simmons, who defends that into to where a vacant gully would be, but along the ground.
Well, it has become pretty. Sorry, Sonia. It has become pretty frustrating for Essex when you think that Warwickshire was 64 for 5, 104 for 6. Here they are, 346 for 7. This would have been Warwickshire's plan to bat at least reasonably big and give their somewhat makeshift bowling attack, something to work with.
Porter in and bowls, and that's driven up past the bowler. That was a well-timed shot from Simmons, and that has raced away to the boundary and brings 4 more runs to his and Warwickshire's total.
And the 350 up, so they've got there with 2 overs to spare. Assuming they don't score 50 runs off the next 12 balls, that'll be it for batting points for Warwickshire. Still a bowling point for Essex to aim for in the last 2 overs of the 110. But a good effort from Warwickshire this morning to get there pretty comfortably in the end. Just lost Michael Burgess. And Chase Simmons on first-class debut really has already done a decent enough job with the bat, whatever happens from here. 17 off 37 balls, and he's seen Warwickshire to the 4th batting point. So a good start to the match for him. Don't know what's behind his 99. Maybe he wants a number 9.
Well, he's in as 9 on the scoreboard that we've got, but he's wearing the number 99, so who knows?
This one is a 4 defensive. I'm trying to think if there is a number 9 with Warwickshire.
I imagine there's not if it's on this list, but you'll be able to say, or the internet will be able to say better than I can. It's Afridi had a 99, didn't he? Famously.
Number 11, Simon Harmer bowls to Ed Barnard, who drives that to long off. Another comfortable single. Warwickshire keep ticking along.
It's Yorkshire, I think, you have so many of the double numbers in the lineup. Obviously, there's quite a high proportion of those.
I don't think there is a number 9 for Warwickshire. That's swept. Has he bowled him? I think he has, yes. Tempted sweep by Simmons, but Harmer's got it through and knocked off a bail. And, well, Essex get their 8th wicket, so they still have a chance of getting this 3rd bowling point. 351 for 8. Harmer strikes. Simmons out for 17. He's done a decent job for his team. But that's over now. 351 for 8. Did add 38 for the 8th wicket there, Warwickshire.
Yes, it was a good little performance from Simmons, who stuck there, and he didn't look comfortable playing the sweep earlier on in the innings. It went through everything, but that one just snuck through and went onto the stumps. Yeah, Harmer has already got 1 wicket, and he had the wicket of Chase Simmons. And that will bring Ray, I believe.
Michael Ray, so that he's on his Warwickshire debut.
Which will be interesting. I don't know anything about how he bats.
I don't really, but if you look at his record, I mean, he's got as a high score 36 in first class. He's played 54 matches. He averages 9.5, so there are worse. To be honest, if he can score 9 or 10 runs here, and then Barnard scores the same while he's there, then Warwick should probably take that from here. But it doesn't look to have a stunning batting record. What's he done in List A? Well, List A, actually, he's averaging a bit higher, 15, but still only a high score of 33. So his strike rate in red ball cricket's 50, so it doesn't look as if he's a sort of number 10 that comes in and swings the bat.
I was looking forward to that.
Yeah, the days of genuine number 10s and 11s that we used to enjoy. Andre von Truce used to empty bars when he came out to bat because it was so entertaining. He would just swing his bat at everything.
Well, I've seen Anderson and Broad do that for England when they go, should we just have a go and see how many we get? And it usually ends up being a very entertaining 20 minutes.
So Michael Ray then on his county cricket debut. Harmer bowls, and that's a very solid looking forward defensive from Ray. I mean, the sensible thing from here will be for him to do exactly that. Just keep the ball out and see if Barnard can score some runs. Harmer in, quicker ball, and that's pushed out back to the bowler's no run. They also would like to deny Essex's 3rd bowling point if they possibly can. They've got 7 more balls to survive without losing another wicket to do so.
Yes, it'll be a big game for Warwickshire.
And that's a very solid. That's a really good textbook forward defensive there.
He's practiced that one
Ray.
a lot, completely smothering the ball there that just went sort of dropped next to him. It's how you teach it.
So, It's his first class, my first match, I think, of any sort since March. So he listed on the websites. Last played in Auckland for Canterbury.
But that's when their season finishes, isn't it? Because that's the end of their summer, as it marks the start of ours.
So he hasn't managed to get himself any franchise contract. Apparently he has been around for a couple of weeks with the Warwickshire team, so whether that was just because he wanted to train with them for a while or whether they had him in mind, I don't know.
Porter in and bowls to Barnard, who defends that straight back to the bowler. And now the spreading of the field, we'll see what Barnard does.
To me, Essex, again, maybe I'm over obsessing on bonus points, but Essex need one more wicket to get. I'd just try and get him out. I wouldn't worry about. But what I know, I don't know. But for me, I'd just set an attacking field, try and get him out, try and get the 9th wicket if you can this over.
Porter bowls over the wicket, and that's defended by Barnard out towards 3rd, and he's not turned down the single, he's gone for it, so clearly he's not in any hurry.
Well, I suppose that justifies the tactic, because it does give Porter 4 balls now to try and wink out the number 10.
Yes.
Cricket's a bewildering game sometimes. But there we are, so where's number 37, Michael Ray? Looking around the field.
And there's 2 in the slips and 1 at gully, and Shane Snater at backward point behind the bat. As Porter will have his go at the man on county championship debut, who defends that very solidly. Forward defence straight to Jordan Cox at extra cover.
Yeah, well, he's
played
clearly,
that shot. It's the only shot we've seen, but he's played it very well.
He's clearly a lower order batter as opposed to a tail ender, because he's trying to play properly.
Well, it's always one of those where you don't. Well, we obviously don't quite know where he batted for Auckland or for Canterbury.
Well, I can tell you, he got 3 in his last innings. Let's have a look, see what number he batted.
Porter is in and bowls, and that's forward defended this time into the leg side by Ray.
He batted. Where's it gone? It keeps jumping. He didn't. Hang on a minute, it's my screen as well. I think the screen keeps jumping. Here we go. Where is he? Well, I think he might have been a night watcher then, because he batted at 5.
Oh, well, that means he can hang around a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How many balls did he face as
8.
Porter runs in and bowls to Ray, who defends that up towards mid-off for no run?
And then he didn't bat in the second innings when there were 4 wickets down, and he's listed at number 11. So anyway, I've got to go and do my update.
Yes, as I will be joined in a minute. As we just do our brief little musical chairs moment in the commentary box. Wesley just having words with bowler Porter before he has another go at the number 10 batter on his county championship debut. There's just a brief conversation, and there'll be a brief pause in play as Brown looks to go under the lid at short leg. The umpire's just coming across to have a conversation with and decide whether he will in fact be moving himself to point, as his view would have been blocked by Brown. There's a leg slip in place. They've moved out gully for the favourable short leg and leg slip. Snater, who had been at a catching position at backward point, has dropped out towards just sort of 20 yards off the boundary as Porter is in, bowls, and that's fended by Ray for his first run in the format out towards Shane Snater.
I'm just getting to the bottom of the email issue. Hopefully, within the next few minutes, we should be back online, which I'm sure is a relief to everyone. What a saga. I don't even stop working in my little breaks. What can I say? Where are we? 3:52 for 8. Myself, David Brett, Sonia Twigg and Clive Eking will be back very, very shortly. Thank you for doing a little bit of a longer stint than usual.
No
Sonia?
worries, it's okay. We'll leave when Clive comes back after his update.
I was doing a lap. I must say, I was doing a lap around the ground, and as I came out from behind the pavilion, I saw Simmons walking off. Was he clean bowled by Harmer?
He
or-
was. He went for a sweep, and the ball just snuck through.
Okay. He's got his shades on, Harmer. Something we're talking about players getting used to getting hats on. I always wonder how they bowl with shades on. It always seems to be a different perspective as Harmer bowls. And that one's just pushed out into the offside, and there is no run. It's Ray on strike.
Well, it clearly hasn't affected Simon Harmer at all,
No,
has it?
no, absolutely not. No, he's done all right with the shades on. Number 11 on his back, right arm over bowls, and that's clipped away down the towards the man at long on, which is Tim Wesley, who comes trotting in. And there's a run to the total. Ray is 2 off 9, and Warwickshire are building a nice little first innings total here, 354 for 8. I was just overhearing Clive talking about the bonus points. I completely agree. Essex can do with all the bonus points they can get. Here comes Harmer, flatter this time. It's a lovely reverse sweep. Premeditated, I think, that one from Barnard. Down very, very early, and then guides it down towards what would have been third man, turns into fine leg for a couple of runs. 356 for 8. Barnard goes to 140. Sun just breaking through.
Yes, it's interesting that, as I let you do this ball,
Harmer in again. That one's clipped, not timed though. And the man at, I think it's Dean Elgar coming around from short mid-wicket fields, and there's no run.
it's interesting that they've kept Wesley out at this sort of long on position for Ray, who's the new batter, rather than really trying to put pressure on him to score. But we'll see how that pans out for Essex.
Harmer in again, and that one's again turned away to the leg side. This time it's fielded again by Elgar, but a little bit straighter and a little bit further down at mid-on. Harmer whirls in again from the river end. Oh, that's really tossed high, and that's a full toss. It's flipped away down to the leg side. It's deep backward square leg who takes it on the bounce, and that'll be a single to the total. Score moves to 357 for 8. Barnard on to 141, and he steals the strike back at the start of the next over.
Yes, it was a bit of a loosener or a sort of very misjudged delivery there from Harmer. You don't normally see him bowl those sort of knee-height full tosses, and he might feel that he's even got away with someone that hasn't raced away to the boundary, as you expect those deliveries to do.
Yeah, just slipped out of his hand, that one.
Porter with ball in hand will continue. There's just the one in the slips for Barnard, and the field is spread. I'm not quite sure I understand this wide spread of the field and then not bringing everyone into the ring for the new batter, but this is what Essex have decided to go for, as Barnard is nearing a mark of 150 runs. It's on 141.
Brilliant. Cheers.
As Porter runs in and bowls, and that's driven by Barnard up towards the gap between long on and cover, and he will have a single. As Clive is ready to take over from me.
Thank you, Sonia. Sonia Twig, we'll be back a little bit later. Rejoining us as Porter stalks his way back to the top of his mark. Sun beating down now. It's nice to see. We were promised that the cloud might be clearing as the day goes on, and it's turning into what could be a beautiful afternoon. It's certainly a good one so far for Warwickshire. Played really well. 358 for 8. As Porter moves in, bowls. That's crashed away through the offside. Great shot, but straight to the man at mid-off on the bounce, and that's well fielded. No run. 358 for 8. Yes, remember, they were 104 for 6 at one point yesterday afternoon.
64 for 5 as well in the morning session. Yeah, it's been a very decent effort. They Chase Simmons did a decent job so far. Michael Ray's looked pretty solid.
Porter, 2 slips in. There's Ray on strike, pulls away. No, goes straight through the man. He's trying to hook that down towards. There are 2 men out in the deep, but deep backward square leg and fine leg. And he was lured into that shot from Porter. And it goes straight through and through to the wicketkeeper, and there's no run.
I mean, it looked a good shot, apart from the fact he didn't actually hit the ball.
Yeah.
And
Minor discrepancy.
Tom Wesley's decided to go and park himself at mid-wicket and see if Ray wants to try that shot again. Means there's just one slip in place.
The email saga rolls on, I'm afraid.
Oh, good.
I need it authorised by someone with a certain phone, and we don't know who's got the phone it needs to be authorised on. But rest assured, we are working on it. Here comes Porter. That's short again, and Ray does get something on it this time. I think it's probably the toe end of the bat, wasn't it? Or, well, it wasn't off the middle of the bat, put it that way. It just slammed down about 10 yards from his feet and rolled down towards deep backward square leg. 3 men out in the deep there. There's deep mid-wicket, deep backward square, and deep fine leg.
Well, I think he's going to get a few more deliveries like that. If he's prepared to play at them, then they're going to bowl them at him.
He's not shy about taking it on, that's for sure. Anyway, Barnard on strike, single to the total, 359 for 8. Barnard on 142. He'll certainly want his 150 and more. Porter kicking his heels up, down the slope, right arm over to the right-handed Barnard, who defends down, past the man at first slip, rolled all the way down to third man for a single. 360 for 8.
Again, Barnard perfectly happy to take the singles. He's not at the moment looking to protect Ray, but probably feels that Warwickshire have got a decent total already, so you might as well just help yourself to whatever runs are on offer. So lose 2 wickets and 2 balls, they've still got a pretty healthy total. And they denied Essex a bowling point, which is always good.
Porter getting ready to come in again, and he's moving past the umpire. Bowls, and that's up again. That's a toe end. Now where's that gone? Oh, that's short of the man at third man. Elgar didn't pick it up. Well, he was looking to scoop that away, I think, somewhere over mid-wicket. I'm not entirely sure where, but it ended up looping all the way down to third man. Elgar didn't pick it up, and eventually it landed about 10 feet to his left-hand side, and on the bounce he picked it up, and there was a single to the total. So a bit of a Keystone Cops moment. 361 for 8. There was a single off that. Ray on 4, Barnard on 143.
Yeah, he's got a similar angle as us, so he's sort of looking into... Having to squint your eyes when you're looking there, and he's clearly indicated that he just didn't pick it up. Elgar, had he picked it up immediately, he might have got there and taken the catch. But I have to say, I'm not sure how long Ray's going to survive to these short deliveries, although he's got Harmer bowling at him now. But he's willing to play them, but he's not done it terribly convincingly so far. However, Harmer will try and get the wicket first, but he's now 361 for 8, and all adding up here for Warwickshire. As Harmer has got 1 wicket today, bowls, and that's again solidly defended to mid-off. A bit more comfortable, I think, playing these Rays, not tempted to try anything too aggressive. I wonder whether Harmer might just loop one up. He bowled one yesterday, it was incredible. Delivery. Oh, he's bowled a full toss, which has been hammered down the ground by Ray for 6. He got that one wrong, Simon. I was saying yesterday, he bowled one where he really looped it in the air just to try and tempt the batter. Whether he was trying that there or not, I don't know, but he got it wrong, and it was quite a juicy full toss for Ray, which he's punished, which I think that's Warwickshire's 3rd 6 of the innings. Barnard and Burgess, I'll check it now, but from memory, they've hit 1 each. And now Ray's got into the act. Oh, it's 367 for 8. Harmer in again. This one pitch has always gone for a big shot there. There's a player out there. He might have beaten him. He has. Snater actually almost caught it, but had he caught it, he would have been over the ropes anyway. The umpire's just trying to confirm with Snater. It certainly looked a 6 from here, and he's signalling that. Well, Ray, who was playing quite orthodox sort of forward offensives for a while, he's clearly got bored with that. And he's decided he's got to have a go.
Can't trust these tail enders, can you?
No, he's on to 6 lower order batters, remember. Not tail enders anymore.
Of course.
16 is on Ray. Well, could be fun, this. Harmer in. And he's gone for the sweep and missed it. And it's been bowled. He's gone the same way that Simmons has gone. Going for the sweep. Harmer just sort of walks nonchalantly as if a little bit irritated. I've been hit for a couple of sixes, but Ray's entertainment has come to an end. He has gone for 16. Harmer gets his second wicket of the day, his third of the innings, and Warwickshire 373 for 9.
Yeah, took all the pace off the ball there, didn't he? And the batsman threw the shot before the ball actually even reached him, and just sort of squeeze its way through his bat and pad, and yeah, he was out.
Yeah. So, well, Ollie Hine-Dolby has earned himself a sort of reputation as a batter who can hang around and allow a senior batter to score lots of runs. You know, famous partnership against Michael Burgess a couple of years ago, where during the partnership he was livid that he was awarded a run when he was convinced it was a leg by, because he was on naught off a ridiculous number of balls while Burgess had scored 100 at the other end. So I don't expect him to go the Michael Ray route, unless Warwickshire have decided we got enough and we'll swing the bat, but I imagine he will try and give Barnard an opportunity to get his 150. Has a chat with him now. Great innings from Ed Barnard. He's been in really good form. His last 5 innings, I think it is now, he's passed 50 on 4 of them and made 44 on the other. 2 centuries in consecutive matches. Got a century in the first innings against Surrey in difficult conditions. That was a terrific innings. And here he is, 143 not out. So he's a player in form at the moment. Vice captain this season, Ed Barnard. I think he's quite relished that extra responsibility. So Harmer into Ollie Hine-Dolby. There's absolute trademark Hine-Dolby defence. Opens his legs, sticks his bat onto the ball and rolls away to safety. There's no run. How many balls in this over we got left? Just the one. So last chance for Harmer to try and wrap the innings up here. And a quicker ball, which again is very well played by Hine-Dolby. End of the over, an eventful over, a couple of sixes and a wicket. It's 373 for 9.
Lovely old-fashioned bat as well. No sponsorship on there whatsoever. Can't believe it. 373, that's a decent total for Warwickshire, I think.
Yeah. They're bowling, obviously. Look, we just don't know how Michael Ray will do. He will be an unknown quantity to Essex. Chase Simmons on first-class debut. But they have lost bowlers, and it's interesting. I was saying earlier, it's probably because it's a hybrid pitch. They decided to leave 2 spinners out who were in the squad.
Be interesting to see how the pitch, well, see if it does deteriorate or not. It looks absolutely belting at the moment from up here. There's a few footmarks outside the left-hander's off stump from the Hayes close end, but everything else looks pretty much intact as Porter bowls. That's full, and Barnard plays out very, very comfortably down towards third man for a single.
But takes the single, which is interesting. That suggests to me that Warwickshire decide, well, we got enough anyway, so any more runs that we're offered, we'll take. They're not going to worry about. And it's good to also teamwork from Barnard, because he's clearly not obsessing over landmarks. He's on 144. Happy to take a single off the first ball of the over.
374 for 9. Dolby yet to score. Barnard's excellent innings continues. 144 off 276. Run rate for the innings around about 3.3.
It's been that pretty well, apart from the start. They started brisker than that in the first session when they're losing lots of wickets, but for the most part it's been that sort of pace throughout.
Here comes Porter, right arm round the wicket to the left-handed Hine-Dolby, who defends that onto the offside. And there's no run. Tall fella, how tall is he? 6?
I think he's listed as 6'7".
6'7", yeah.
The same as the Leeds United goalkeeper. Yeah. Playing at Wembley in the playoff final now, won't he?
It's next weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
374 for 9. Porter comes round the wicket. Dolby, oh, that's him on the pads. Big appeal from behind the stumps. The umpire says not out. There wasn't much from the bowler, to be completely honest.
No, they had a sort of good look to it, didn't it? But whether he might have got a bit of bat on that.
374 for 9. It was a very, very half-hearted appeal from Porter, which was withdrawn almost immediately, but the wicketkeeper and the 2 slips went up for a prolonged amount of time. But the umpire having none of it. Here comes Porter again from the Hayes close end. Bowls to Hannon Dolby. That's a full-length delivery right at his toes. And he just digs it out for no run into the offside.
So look at the bottom of his bat there, Hannon Dolby's.
Yeah, it's right on the toe end of the bat, that one. Lancashire 357 all out this morning, and Durham are 40 for 2 in their reply. As Porter comes chugging in up to the stumps bowls, and that's a thick inside edge. Comes out square down towards deep backward square leg for a single. 375 for 9.
Again, Hannon Dolby happy to take a single for the 5th ball of the over, so unless Barnard gets a single here, or a 3, Hannon Dolby will be on strike. He's not happy with his bat. He's done a little bit of damage to the bottom of his bat. He's having a chat with the umpire about it now.
2 wickets in quick succession at Durham. Lee's out for 24 and Borthwick out for 10. Both went for when the score was on 34. Ackerman and Beddingham are now at the crease, both not out on 3. Porter, right arm over the wicket to the right-handed Barnard, who drives that handsomely in the air. Is it going all the way? I think it has. Let's have a look, see what the umpire signals. He does. It's a 6. Lovely strike. Good pick up from Barnard. Last ball of the over as well. That brings up his 150. A lovely shot. Beautiful way to get there. Show the full face of the bat, driven straight back down the ground towards the Hayes close end and over the rope for 6 runs. So Barnard 150 off 277 deliveries, and the score is 381 for 9.
It's the 4th batter to get to 150 for Warwickshire this season. So for all the Warwickshire's hundreds, apart from Barnard's at the Oval, have sort of gone on to make quite a bit more. And all is a bit frustrating for Essex. This runs continue to be accumulated. Harmer will hope to wrap it up now. Bowling to Hannon Dolby. That was 277 balls, 13 fours, and that was his second 6. Barnard for his 150. Harmer's having a long chat with the umpire. They had a few conversations about the ball yesterday, to the point where I think one of the umpires actually started getting a bit annoyed with them because he kept refusing to change the ball and they didn't like it. And there's quite a long conversation here. Don't know what that's all about. Anyway, Harmer comes in round the wicket to bowl. Hannon Dolby again. Textbook defence, no run.
Not entirely sure Harmer will give the batsman too much pace to play with here. He wants to try and belt the ball. He's going to put all the power into it himself.
And Dolby plays back to that, plays it down to short leg. I would be surprised if Hannon Dolby goes for his shots here. He'll just want to keep the ball out. In comes Harmer again. Quicker ball, and Dolby plays back to that into the covers. No run. Harmer's 2 wickets have come from Warwickshire batters going for a sweep shot. I don't think Hannon Dolby's going to attempt that. Harmer balls, gives that plenty of air. It's a 4 defensive, no run. 381 for 9. All adding up here, watch, all adding to Essex frustrations. Harmer, quicker ball again, solidly defended by Hannon Dolby.
Some excitement from the crowd.
Well, he's been quite shouty this morning, that particular person. If it's the same person, I can't see him, I can hear him on it. Anyway, quicker boys strangled LBW appeal there. Probably it was a quicker ball that did Hannah Dobby trying to play the forward defensive, wasn't quite as comfortable looking there. So Hannah Dobby sees out the over, maiden over from Harmer. And Warwickshire are 381 for 9. Bonus points have been and gone for this innings. 2 bowling points for Essex and 3 batting points for Warwickshire.
Scores elsewhere. Notts 235 all out this morning. In response, Hampshire 20 for 2 now. So a good start to the Hampshire innings from a Notts point of view. All out, no score, and Organ. It's actually Ollie Stone's got the first 2 wickets. So again, another man that's very much been lauded as a potential starter for England.
Well, it's very good to see that he's playing. He bowled actually pretty well at Edgbaston without getting much success in the match for Notts against Warwickshire, and I think they're a good-looking side, Notts. Actually, you look at their lineup, but it's great to see Ollie Stone over all his injury problems, bowling well, and as long as he stays fit, then I'm sure he will be a strong contender for England.
2 for 12 off. 2 for 13 off 5. Hampshire are 21 for 2 in reply to Notts 235 all out. We have spin from both ends. Let's see what Matt Critchley's leg spin can do as he comes over the wicket, and that's pushed away into the offside. There's a huge gap down there towards a deep extra cover. It was in the air safely over the fielder, and they come through for 2 quick runs. Good cricket from Warwickshire, 383 for 9, and it's going to start to frustrate Essex. They've been in the field almost an hour and a half this morning.
Yeah.
3 wickets, but they're still hanging around there, and more importantly, Barnard's still there. 152 as Critchley comes in. That's a flatter delivery. That's guided down towards third man. I think there's a fielder down there.
Nope.
It's gone for 4 runs. So now they're starting to accumulate runs as well. 6 off the first 2 balls of that over. 387 for 9.
Great stuff from Ed Barnard.
Somerset still ploughing away, 494 for 8. We had the 2 centuries from Banton, the wicketkeepers Banton and Rue. Gregory's now 44 not out, and Davies 21 not out. So that's frustrating as well for Kent as Critchley bowls. This one's turned away down towards long on for a single, 388 for 9.
Sounds like a rather different sort of pitch to the one that Essex had there.
Yeah, it certainly does. Well, we'll wait to see once Somerset start bowling. Surrey in response to Worcestershire's, Surrey were 213 all out in the first innings. Worcestershire 128 all out this morning, and Surrey are 21 for no loss in their second innings. Burns 15, Sibley 6. Again, at the moment it's looking like a little bit of a procession for Surrey, but we shall see. It's relatively early doors. Critchley just adjusting the field here. And he comes in right arm round to Dolby. That comes off the pad, no shot offered. It's going to be a dead ball. And the umpire gives it not out. Bounce, if anything, would have been an issue there. But he certainly didn't read it, Anand Dolby.
No. Yeah, Surrey's reputation is such that when they were 50... Hang on, look at the wrong scorecard. What were they? They were
50 off for 4, wasn't
so
they?
9 for 3, weren't they? And 15 for 4.
Swept into the leg side. Deep mid wicket will fill for a single. Hammond Dolby goes to 2, 389 for 9.
And when they're 15 for 4, you're still thinking they're still going to win, though. Let's be honest.
Oh well. Division 2, Northants against Derbyshire. Northants are 371 for 6. As Critchley comes in again. Down the wicket comes Barnard. That's in the air. Has it got the legs? It's gone high, and it's well over the man at long on. Was that caught in the... No, it wasn't.
I think it's caught on the... Oh, he's dropped it, isn't it? I thought it was caught on the bounce possibly, but yeah. Well, it's a good job it was not a £1,000 bonus for catching it in the ground, because that would have been spilt then.
6 runs to the total, 395 for 9, and more pain for Essex. Broad is 74 not out for Northamptonshire. Keogh 102 is the top scorer in their innings so far, doing very well against Derbyshire. Gloucestershire are 400, some big scores about 471 for 4 against Leicestershire, so they're going handsomely.
There were 300 odd without loss yesterday.
Yeah, it was Bancroft 160 and Charlesworth 126. They've obviously both gone. Currently at the crease, Bracey 35 not out, and Van Buren.
How many
4.
extras on there? Because there were a whole load yesterday.
58.
Okay, they've calmed down a bit. I think that first partnership, there were a lot of extras. Simon Harmer. Try again to wrap up this innings. Bowling to Ollie Hannon-Dolby. Round the wicket. Hannon-Dolby defends.
It's a low scorer at Sussex. 150 all out. Sussex, Yorkshire were 195 all out in the first innings. So
Simon Harmer getting plenty of advice from the crowd. Still not happy with the ball. It's, tossed it to Tom Wesley, who's giving it a polish.
play stopped. What's happening now?
Well, they're chuntering about the ball again, I think. Oh, wait a minute. No, they're getting a helmet out, to be fair. There's a helmet coming out, so they're going to bring someone in. Hannon-Dolby's not playing any attacking shots, so they might as well put plenty round the bat. So, Dean Elgar's popped the helmet on. So where's he going? He's going to go to City Point, I think, is he? So we've got a slip, a short leg, and then a short cover. Harmer in. Hannon-Dolby actually plays it past that short cover to point. There's no run. This might actually induce Hannon-Dolby to try and play the ball away from the close fielders, so it could lead to an error there, though. Very solid forward defensive. No run. Sun out again. It's been a good morning for Warwickshire. They've added to arithmetic in a moment. Hannon-Dolby defends. There's no run. They've added 87 runs this morning for the loss of 3 wickets. So 87 for 3 sounds a fairly even session, but in the context of the game, I think it's, Warwickshire certainly be happy with the two sides. Harm at bowls, and that's defended from fairly high on the bat by Hannon-Dolby into the ground to short leg, no run.
Yeah, especially when it's come with a lower order.
Yeah.
Got rid of Burgess in the start of the third over of the morning, so to still be here an hour and a half later.
And I'll be here a little longer as a forward defensive. Yes, there were 313 when they lost that wicket, so what was it, 82 added for the subsequent 3 wickets.
It's going to continue with Critchley. They are, so leg spin from the Hayes close end.
Critchley, the only player in the county championship this season so far to have taken a fifer and score a century in the same match. He did it against Kent here, 150 not out and 5 for 105. Only 2 players managed that feat in the whole of last season.
Critchley in, bowls flatter. Oh, that's a swipe outside the off stump. Keeper takes it well. Backing away was Barnard, just off balance, and he actually took the bows off as well. Nice bit of keeping there from Pepper.
Yes, took a good catch early on, didn't he, to get rid of Burgess.
Critchley in again. gives us a bit more air. It's cut away down towards deep third man. In fact, that's gone for 4, I think.
No,
No.
it's been brought
Fielded in.
I think we're.
It's hidden away from us, unfortunately, so we can't quite see. But I think that's just a couple of runs to the total at 3.97 for 9. I think it was a sliding stop, but well out of our sight. Shane Snater doing the fielding. Critchley in again, and really tossed up this time. Driven, nicely taken on and tumbled by Kushi along the ground. There's no run. Lovely cool breeze just coming through the commentary box. Critchley bowls again, flatter. That's in the air. I think that's going to be caught at long on. It is. And finally, they get Barnard to miss time one, but it's a superb innings from Barnard. 165, and he's clubbed one straight down the throat of the man at long on to end the Warwickshire innings on 397. All out. Quick word from you on the
Well, I think they'll be
innings?
very happy. Obviously, 64 for 5 one stage. Great efforts by Ed Barnard and by Michael Burgess. And Barnard's continued today, 165. Got good support from Chase Simmons, Michael Ray and Ollie Hannon-Dalby. And Warwick should be very happy with that. But now we'll see how their bowling attack fares on a pitch where Essex found it increasingly difficult to get much response as the innings went on. The applause, by the way, is for Ed Barnard. Good sporting applause from the home crowd to Ed Barnard there as he leaves the field for 165. Yeah, Warwick should be very happy with that, but a big test for them now. They have struggled to bowl teams out this season, so it'll be a big test to see whether they can put a bit of pressure. But they've done the first part of the job, which is to make sure they have plenty of runs to work with.
Thanks, Clive. It's Clive Eakin. He'll be back with us after lunch. BBC CWR and Radio WM. Sonia Twigg from The Independent will be picking up from Clive very, very shortly. But yeah, it's a decent knock from Warwickshire. Remember, they were 104 for 6 just after lunch yesterday. All out for 397 today. Barnard, the last wicket for superb innings from the young man. I keep them just behind Surrey, who really are putting the pressure on early on in the season. Looks like they've got the heavy roller on out there. Essex trying to quieten down whatever mischief there might be in this pitch when they start their batting in around about 10 minutes time. Dean Elgar and Feroz Kushi will have a lot of time to think about that this morning. But Burgess went in the start of the third over of the morning, and they pretty much had another hour and a half to think about when they might start batting. So it made them wait a long time, Warwickshire. They did really well. Some lovely shots. Barnard well supported by the lower order. And they've set a total in that first innings. They should take Essex a fair amount of time to overhaul it, if in fact they can overhaul it. Bowling figures. Porter, 26 overs, 1 for 89. Sam Cook, 24 overs, 2 for 82. So I think Warwickshire will be pleased they kept Essex's 2 really informed bowlers quiet in that first innings. Snater, probably the pick of the seamers, 3 for 58 off 25. And Simon Harmer, got clubbed for a few sixes towards the end of the innings, 3 for 93 off 30. And Critchley took the final wicket, 1 for 65 off 12.4 overs. Of course, the standout of the Warwickshire innings, that partnership between Barnard and Burgess, which I believe was, on arithmetics, not my best, I think worth 209, was that? I might be a little bit short on that. I'll figure that out in a minute. But yeah, 108 Burgess was out before he was caught. Pepper of the bowler. Snater, a really sharp catch by Pepper down to his right hand side, diving away to the right. And obviously the final wicket caught Wesley Barnard, 195, right down on the boundary rope for 165. But as I said, useful contributions down the order. Simmons 17 on his debut, Ray 16 took the attack to Essex as well, and that just helped Warwickshire up to a very, very healthy total. Sonia Twigg, 397.
Yes, a very healthy total. It was, well, at one point it didn't look like they were going to get anywhere near that, but then Barnard and Burgess just put on that incredible partnership, and it'll be interesting to see how Essex go here. They've obviously got a very strong batting lineup themselves, and yeah, it's not really. It's quite a difficult point to sort of analyse, because we've seen obviously a whole innings, but we haven't seen how the other side fare. And there was a bit of movement for Essex early on with the ball yesterday and this morning, so I wonder if that will continue with Warwickshire taking the new ball and what they can produce.
I sensed a little bit of frustration from some of the Essex supporters out there with the length of time it was taking them to get those final few wickets of Warwickshire. But it really will be interesting to see, obviously with this synthetic pitch, just to see how the pitch holds up over the next 2.5 days. It's looking pretty good at the moment, though.
It does look really good. I think it's also, I think it was one Essex member in particular who was expressing their frustrations there. Yes, it's. I think it'll be interesting to see as we carry on throughout the day, and obviously we had a brief sort of moment of sunshine. It got a bit warmer and a bit sort of calmer, but the breeze has dropped, although the cloud covers returned. So whether that will be, what Warwickshire are looking for as they start their innings with the new ball and look to try and bowl Essex out, which obviously is no mean feat. They've got a very strong batting lineup, and last time I was here for the second round of County Championship, I watched Dean Elgar score a very good century, so I wonder if we'll be on course for something similar today.
Well, Warwickshire will be they'll be happy to take all the help they can if the overhead cloud cover is causing the new ball to move about. We shall see very shortly. Certainly something through the air, because it doesn't seem to be happening too much off the pitch at the moment. The Warwickshire bowlers just going through their paces on the field just away to our right hand side. Pretty healthy crowd here at Essex. People slowly drifting in throughout the morning. Most of the supporters away to our right hand side of the pavilion.
Well, I heard some, when I was sitting out on the balcony, there's some people in front of me discussing whether it was the football that might be keeping people at home. Obviously, there's a few playoff matches and a very exciting conclusion to the Women's Super League, with no one sure whether the trophy will be heading to Manchester City or Chelsea. And ironically, it's Chelsea who are playing in Manchester and Manchester City who are playing in Birmingham. So, yes, so we'll see what happens with that throughout the course of the afternoon. And England women had a very good win yesterday at Northampton against Pakistan, another dominant performance from them, with the return of Nasif Brunt.
Yeah, it certainly did.
I have to admit, I couldn't catch the first innings because I was heading back from here, but I managed to watch the second.
Are you staying locally, enjoying the delights of Chelmsford?
I'm staying at my house in London.
Okay, fair enough. Probably best.
No, it's not too bad a journey, so it's not problematic to do every day at all.
Straight on the train, or do you drive here?
I get the train here. I'm quite central in London, so driving from me is sort of not usually worth it if I can avoid it. Or when the county cricket grounds are in the town centre anyway, I prefer to take the train.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a different matter if you're going to sort of Southampton or Northampton, where the cricket grounds are that far out of town that you sort of have to navigate local buses and things.
Yeah. Becomes a bit planes, trains and automobiles trying to get to these grounds a little bit further out. Yeah, no, this is very, very centrally located, short walk from the train station, providing of course the trains are working okay.
Yes, yesterday was interesting. There was a signal failure somewhere that caused every train to be absolutely rammed, but it wasn't too bad. It's only about half an hour or so to Liverpool Street.
Yeah. Okay, umpires are back out on the field. Play to resume very shortly, in a couple of minutes actually. So we'll have around about 15 minutes before the lunch break for Elgar and Kushi to either survive or thrive. We shall see.
Yes, it's a really difficult period to navigate because they have not left them. They can't really get themselves in, but they could get themselves out in this quite tricky period, whereas Warwickshire can throw everything that they've got at these opening batters because they've only got 15 minutes and then they get to put their feet up, so they're not going to be too tired from whatever effort they put in now.
Absolutely, yep. New ball, cloud cover, go hard at it for the next 15 minutes and then get a rub down, take some water and food on board and then go again just after the lunch break. Here come the two sets of players.
Yes, it's always an interesting way the players make their way out into the pitch. I also like Michael Burgess who has obviously done a good effort yesterday and into the start of this morning with black wicket-keeping gloves, which I always associate with Ben Folkes, but even he's switched from those.
Absolutely. Certainly makes you stand out, doesn't it?
It does. And it will be Oliver Hannon-Dolby to start from the Graham Gooch end.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yep, just a little logistics issue.
So, Hannon-Dolby will be the bowler. 3 slips in, a backward point, a cover, mid-off, mid-on, a man just in front of square on the leg side, midway between the wicket and the boundary. And it will be Dean Elgar on strike. Left-hander, so Hannon-Dolby will go right arm over from the Graham Gooch end. And he's running in now, up to stumps and he bowls, and Elgar just jabs that one down towards backward point along the ground, feeling bat on ball. And there's no run.
And he's really digging out his mark, isn't he, into that turf. As we've mentioned, the hybrid pitch being used in the county championship, or permitted to be used in the county championship for the first time this year, having been only allowed in List A cricket previously in T20s.
Quite fastidious, some of these, certainly the opening batsmen. Got their little ticks as Hannon-Dolby with his right arm jutting out bowls. That's driven down the ground nicely. I don't think that's entirely timed by Elgar. He's going to get at least a couple of runs for this. 2 fielders in chase. And there will be just 2 runs to the total. Essex off the mark, 2 for no loss. Elgar 2. Remember, 397 was the first innings total from Warwickshire. Have we actually explained what we mean by synthetic?
I think so. I think it's just when there are some synthetic fibres woven in with the grass. I don't think it's not the sort of 4G that people listening might be, or the old 3G that it's not a sort of AstroTurf pitch. It's just synthetic fibres woven in with the grass. Looking at it, you would not be able to tell, and I wouldn't be able to tell you about close up.
Hannon-Dolby in, that's full, well wide of off stump, and that's left alone by Elgar.
I think it was a measure brought in to help pitches hold up to the demands of just how much cricket is being played on some of these. You know, when they've got to manage an entire summer and they might have some internationals and some obviously county championship fixtures, Blast and Metrobank One Day Cup as well. It can be a lot for them to try and find strips for, so I think this measure is just to help them hold up into the end bit of the summer. 3
slips go down as Hannon-Dolby bowls, and again left alone outside of off stump. 2 for no loss. Yeah, I presume probably quite expensive to implement, but obviously the long-term returns are the fact that these pitches last a little bit longer or can be reused multiple times, so less of a churn for the rest of the square.
Yes, definitely.
As we said during the break, very interesting to see how this pitch holds up, but it does look an absolute beaut from up here.
It does. It looks very brown, which is not normally what you associate with middle of May.
Hannon-Dolby in, bowls, and that's well wide of off stump as well, and there's no run.
Yes, I'm not sure Elgar particularly had to move for that one. He just sort of watched it go past the outside edge. But Hannon-Dolby just trying to settle into a rhythm here, and Dean Elgar is probably not who you want to bowl against when you're trying to do that.
Very patient man is Dean Elgar. Hannon-Dolby just trying to find his radar early on here. Just the 2 runs off the over so far, but only a couple of balls that Elgar's had to play at. Breeze picks up again as Hannon-Dolby in bowls, and again another leave outside the off stump. So game of patience here between batsman and bowler, and that's the end of the over. So 1 over gone in the Essex innings. 397 was the total that Warwickshire got in their first innings, and Essex in response are 2 for no loss.
And it will be Michael Ray, I believe, to bowl from the Sir Alistair Cook end with a headband, not to hold back his hair because he doesn't have any, but who's donning the headband nevertheless, is the New Zealander. And just going to, I think he might be going to mark his run-up. No, it's already done. That's good as he makes his, well, he's making his county championship debut. Scored a few runs with the bat and now is looking to contribute at the start with the ball from the Sir Alistair Cook end. Just having a couple of warm-up balls to captain Alex Davies there at mid-off. And it will be the right-handed Kushi to face. Ray runs in over the wicket, bowls, and that's just turned away by Kushi into the leg side through square leg. It will be stopped on the boundary by Simmons, who throws in, but he will add 3 runs to Essex's total to take them on to 5. That was slightly too straight from the bowler, and it's just been picked off by Kushi.
He's a lovely looking player, is Kushi. Like most of the Essex batsmen, loves the ball on the pads. Lovely little twist of the wrist and turned into the leg side. Yeah, an attractive batsman, certainly when he gets going.
Yes, and Simmons is having to do square leg to square leg, which is a tough ask, and for the umpires as well, although we saw them do it for a while yesterday. Elgar just taking guard as he hasn't faced yet from the Sir Alistair Cook end. Ray waiting at the top of his mark with ball in hand.
Simmons, we racking up the kilometres on his GPS tracker.
I was going to say, they do monitor them now, so you can actually find, well, they will be monitoring all this stuff as Ray is in and bowls, and that one is left alone in the end by Elgar, who was briefly tempted that, which just went past outside his leg stump, but he wasn't drawn into any shot.
Yeah, they talk about the red zone, don't they? Where if they get in towards the red zone, then they have to stop them bowling. I wonder how much of, he's moving quite a long way there from square leg to square leg. I wonder how much that counts towards it, because obviously he's not doing it at the full intense pace he'd bowl at, but he's still covering a few Ks extra.
As Ray is in and bowls, and that's turned round to the leg side by Elgar, who'll pick up a single there to long leg, and this field has to switch around again for the left-hand, right-hand combination. Yes, it's a slow jog by Simmons, but he's still covering a fair amount of ground.
Not quite the 20-odd K you'll be covering tomorrow, but still a fair amount.
Although there was one point when I was a child playing in adult matches that you have to do sort of fine leg to fine leg, and that is really racking up the distance.
Fine leg to fine leg, you don't get to bowl when you come into bat last as well.
Yeah.
That was always my experience as a child playing cricket anyway.
I usually got 2 overs as Ray runs in, bowls, and that's just watched by Kushi out the outside, off stump. That's a bit better. He seemed to find his line a bit more there. Yes, it was. Adult cricket, they give you the 2 overs of pity at some point in the afternoon.
You must have been a far better bowler than me then. I didn't even get that.
And fine leg to fine leg, and then when you graduate, you get to do fine leg to mid-on. As I'm sure every person listening went through that, or who's played cricket, went through that spell in their youth.
Yeah.
My dad telling me what to do as Ray's in bowls, and that's defended into the offside by Kushi. He won't pick up a run. It was slightly wayward of the fielder there at cover, but not enough to tempt him into taking the single.
Yeah, I'm afraid the email saga has taken another twist. We are searching for someone who has a certain phone to authorise my access, and at the moment we have not tracked them down. So
do they need the Google access?
Yeah.
Yes. Two-factor authentication is good for security, but annoying when it locks you out.
Absolutely. So I apologise to all the listeners who may have emailed in.
Ray in bowls, and that's just watched by Kushi outside the off stump. And at the end of that over, Essex 6 without loss.
But rest assured, if, as and when I do get access, I will let you know, and we can start doing the emails again. So apologies for that. It's my fault for getting a new phone in between the end of last season and the start of this one. So Essex 6 for no loss. A decent start. No real alarms so far. And again, as we were saying earlier, the pitch looks an absolute beauty, so it doesn't seem to be doing too much. Obviously can't see what's happening through the air, but with heavy cloud cover you would have thought it would benefit the bowlers. That's defended back down the pitch. Shannon Dolby coming in from the grey and gooch end, Hayes close end, and Elgar, the left-hander, just pushing it out towards mid-off for no run. We are, how far? We talk about another 10 minutes to go before.
Yeah, another
the lunch
couple of
break.
overs maybe. See how many we get through. There's been a decent amount today so far. So not got through 28 in the morning session yesterday.
Yeah, we had a fair bit of spin towards the end of that. The Warwickshire innings as the the right arm over to the left-hander, just goes across the stumps again. Still not drawing Elgar into a shot yet. He's quite happy to leave that alone. And through to the wicket-keeper, and there's no run.
Yes, I think we might be seeing a few Elgar leaves. He's not really drawn into anything that he doesn't think is worth playing at. He doesn't mind taking his time.
He's certainly not a Baz bowler, that's for sure.
No, well, nor was the person he's essentially taken the place of in Sir Alistair Cook.
Absolutely. Hannon Dolby in again, bowls to Elgar, who does defend this time, back down the pitch, and there is no run. Interesting to see what Bazball Mark II looks like. I think Brendan McCullum said that at the end of the India series they will need to adjust the way they play. What that means I have no idea, but I can't see them changing the two openers for England, so I presume they'll still go about it pretty much the same way.
And the two openers have been one of England's greatest success stories in the current guys.
Hannon Dolby in again. There's got a fielder, and that's guided down. It doesn't beat the man at back point. Yes, it does, just about. In fact, he takes it on the catch, but can't control his stumbling, and Elgar runs through for a single. There's actually a fielder almost on the cut strip. It's a very, very straight short mid-off, and he's going to stay there, I think. Yes, he is. He's going to stay there as well for interesting field. So there's a short straight mid-wicket. Note they've moved Simmons, who was standing almost behind him. As he's now moved off to a mid-wicket more square, and mid-on has just moved around. So slightly deeper position than when Simmons was at, but still three men in the slips. So got a man covering the straight drive. It's right arm over to the right-handed bat, and Kushi, slightly on his toes, drives into the offside, and there's no run.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I think when they say, got to find a new invention of it, I think it was, they obviously, one of the first things they did was recall Stuart Broad and James Anderson, and now they're sort of facing a future without them, and it's really the seam bowling attack that needs reinvention. As beyond Mark Wood, who obviously can't play all of a 5-match series, there's not really anyone who you're looking at and going, well, they're definitely going to be in the next England team.
Absolutely right. Hannon Dolby in again, bowls, and that's a thick inside edge. Cushy pushing forward. I think he was trying to push that down the pitch, but it comes off a thick inside edge, slightly turns the bat in his hand, and into the leg side, and Simmons fields, and there is no run. End of the over. Essex are 7 for no loss in response to Warwickshire's first innings total of 397. Yeah, I think you're quite right. The other worrying thing is the bowlers that are sort of trying to bring in to replace, or certainly get more pace into the England bowling attack, have fallen foul. Quite a lot of injuries over the last few years. So it's just trying to keep a fit quartet on the pitch. Yeah,
Josh Tongue ruled out for the first few tests of the summer with a pec injury. Jamie Overton in a race against fitness to be ready for the T20 World Cup. Ollie Stone and Bryden Cass have had their back stress fractures at least once, I think, as Ray runs in over the wicket to Elgar, who does fend at that one. He only just about manages to pull his bat out the way as it goes through to Burgess behind the stumps. That was a good ball from the Kiwi.
Yeah, a bit of extra bounce that looked like, actually. A good length. Elgar caught in between coming forward and going back, and it lifted as well. And like you say, just managed to get his gloves out of the way of that one.
Ray with ball in hand, by far the longest run-up of the bowlers, just looking from the marks on the pitch. Ray in bowls, and that's defended comfortably by Elgar through the covers, and well stopped by a diving Alex Davies there.
Yeah, it does, given all the injury trouble certainly England's fast bowlers had, it does make it even more impressive. The amount of times and how often the Australian pace quartet managed to keep going for Australia.
Well, Cummins had awful injury problems early on in his career,
did,
but they
yeah.
seem to have been addressed in a way that England quite haven't managed to shake off those stress fractures. Ray in bowls, and that's driven by Elgar, and it's hit Ray on the feet somewhere. I think he stopped that slightly unorthodoxly with his leg, and might be wearing a bruise. You just hope that's not shin or something that could be quite painful. But he stopped it. There's no run, and that's what some people will be caring about, but that looked a little bit unorthodox and quite painful.
Yeah, if anyone has kicked a cricket ball that's moving at pace, it is very, very, very painful. And yet these guys seem to do it on a regular basis.
Ray in and bowls, and that's watched by Elgar through to the wicketkeeper for no run. Yes, it's those ones where you go down to field and it just hits you on the knee, and you look at your knee the next day and there's a big black sort of circle on it, and go, yep, that's what happened.
Take a few whacks, these cricketers.
They do.
Essex just in cover-up mode here. 1.91 is the run rate at the moment. I'll get another over in after this, at least, I think, Warwickshire.
Potentially, we've got 2 minutes left, just looking at my watch, but we should be able to get one more in. Ray in bowls, and again, that's slightly leg side and just watched by Elgar through to the wicketkeeper.
Yeah, 7 for no loss. Just want to avoid losing a wicket before that lunch break.
Well, Essex fans might be hoping that England don't turn their eye towards Sam Cook, who has been talked about.
Yeah, he seems to have. I mean, if they were going to look for never going to get a like for like replacement for Jimmy, but he'd be sort of along those lines.
Well, they might also want someone who's a bit younger as Ray runs in bowls, and that's defended by Elgar into 2 mid-wicket for no run, and Warwickshire are racing around there, desperately trying to get another over in here.
I think they're going to get it quite comfortably. So it's a maiden over for Warwickshire.
England fans will be buoyed by the news. Jofra Archer was playing for Sussex Twos yesterday.
I watched on Twitter some of the footage for his bowl. He bowled like 6 over spell or something like that.
I think so.
It looked pretty fast and nasty.
I think the challenge is going to be how he recovers from that.
Here comes Hannon Dolby, bowls. That's driven on the bounce back to the bowler. And there is no run. Just about to go into the BBC Essex Sports News very shortly for an update.
The move follows the results of the local elections earlier this month, which saw the Conservatives.
The umpire's just putting the stumps back together as they have to do, because it was broken down by Hannon Dolby and his follow-through. Just a sign of aggression, no chance of a run out there.
Hannon Dolby moving in now from the Graham Gooch end, bowls, and that's all thick inside edges. Kushi lunges forward, defends into the leg side, and there is no run.
Yes, that just sort of skewed out to mid-wicket. I don't think he was particularly in control of that one, but if Essex can navigate this period without losing a wicket, they will consider it a success.
Yep, definitely. 4 balls left in the over. Bit of a switch in the field here. Simmons going to mid-on, and being replaced at short mid-wicket. Deep fine leg starts to come round, but sent back. Still the 3 slips into the right-hander as Hannon Dolby comes right arm over to Kushi, and Kushi leaves outside the off-stump. Look close.
It does look close, and from the head in the hands of those in the slips, it might be a little bit closer than it maybe looks to us, as we are sort of when the bowling takes place from the Graham Gooch end, we're sort of at third man, which isn't the best vantage point to be able to tell you what the ball's doing, but it's a pretty good view of the pitch, which is very central at Chelmsford.
And Dolby turns at the top of his mark again. And he's moving in now, sort of flicked up, pirouetted down towards the fielder down at fine leg for a single. The old KP Flamingo shot, except that one went very, very fine rather than square of the wicket. Goes for a single, 8 for no loss Essex, and Kushi goes to 4.
Elgar, I think, just trying to make sure this is definitely the last over, taking his guard again. I'm not sure how his very crafted and well worked at mark is not visible, but He's going down and prodding the pitch.
Just about to go in for an update.
His county championship match against Warwickshire continues at the county ground. Brightening conditions this afternoon. It's a good day to be watching the action, which is exactly what David Brett's doing for BBC Essex.
Yeah, absolutely. And Essex are finally batting after Warwickshire accumulated 397 in their first innings, largely thanks to an excellent knock by Ed Barnard. He was last man out, 165 caught by Wesley down at long on off the bowling of Critchley. His 209 partnership with Burgess, who was out for 108 in the third over of the morning, caught Pepper off the bowling and Snater with the backbone of the innings. Barnard was well supported down the order by Simmons and Ray. In particular, it's hoisted Warwickshire up to a fine total 397. In response, Essex are currently at 10 for no loss. Algar on 6 and Cushy on 4. Pick of the bowlers for Essex in that first innings was Snater, 3 overs. 3 for 58 off 25, but Essex will be looking to chip away at that first innings total. They're currently 10 for no loss, and we are now going in for lunch.